Good Saturday afternoon, everyone. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights, VELCO Weather Hazards Forecaster. For this outlook, we're looking at the big picture, of course, and first illustration is we have a lot of smoke. This symbol here showing smoke on the Gatineau Airport, Ottawa, Montreal, up into Quebec City. Of course, the source region for these fires are in the boreal forest, generally north of the St. Lawrence River Valley, and any kind of a direction with this area of higher pressure doing its clockwise circulation and spreading outward as an anticyclone is nudging this smoke layer into the northern one-third of Vermont. Let's take a look at that for today. You can really see that smoke that's made some inroads here into about Washington County, parts of Orange County, and points north. The heaviest smoke, of course, is in the areas right along the U.S. Vermont-Canadian border and up into Canada, closer to the source regions. This is some very dense smoke and some very poor air quality indeed. Looking at the HRRR model, what we see here is the smoke, wildfire smoke above ground level, showing quite dense across that northern tier regions. This is valid by about 3 o'clock this afternoon. What's going to end up happening is the high pressure center that's up to the north of us is going to start to shift the wind more of a northeasterly, and that's going to take most of that smoke down the Champlain Valley tonight. This is valid about midnight or so, and it's still very, very dense. But parts of the Northeast Kingdom, you're going to start to see some improvement of that smoke, and eventually it's going to head westbound as the flow of air is going to be northeasterly, eventually easterly, and then southeasterly, and that's going to take that smoke away from us by the overnight period tonight and into the day tomorrow. And I don't think we'll be seeing any more smoke probably during the day on Monday as we have other things happening. First, before we go to temperature, look at dew points real quickly. Notice the dew points do fall off north of the Canadian border, and so there's an absence of cumulus. Also, there's a lot of subsidence being suppressed, and smoke is kind of inhibiting quite a bit of the convection. Further down into Vermont, however, we're starting to see that convection with the best convection in the southern one half of the state. And looking at the current ambient air temperatures, what we can see here is temperatures making a rise pretty quickly now. We're going to see basically temperatures closer to 80, and north of the Canadian border a little bit cooler conditions as, again, that northerly flow bringing in that denser smoke. That's going to cool things off just a little bit more. So we have the Euro on the left, we have the GFS on the right. Running the model from 2 o'clock this afternoon into tonight, you see just indicated a little less action going on in northern parts of Vermont. So it's really going to be probably about Chittenden County, Washington County, probably Caledonia County and points south for thunderstorm activity. Then we get a little bit of a break in the action overnight. And you'll notice there's some shower and thunderstorm activity that forms, indicated by the Euro anyway, up to the north of us. And it's going to be a fairly robust day during the day tomorrow as this upper level cold pool pushes into the region. And what we're going to end up seeing is a lot of moisture, high precipitable water, greater than 1.4 inches. It's going to be able to tap into that. And with a little bit of shear, that's going to be working in during the afternoon hours on Monday. And it could be that it might not really get going until late afternoon. We're going to see some shower and thunderstorm activity. It could be a little bit more organized, and potentially one or two of the thunderstorms could be strong, potentially even severe. So we'll be watching for that on Monday, and a heads up will be issued later today about Monday, and also looking at any convection that might be forming a little bit across southern parts of Vermont today. Needless to say, this is Tuesday. We have a daily diet of shower and thunderstorm activity. So we continue the shower and thunderstorm activity just about every day. In fact, going right through this period, ending on Friday. It looks like even continuing into this coming weekend. This is Thursday, of course, and then you can see it flare up each afternoon, both the GFS and the Euro showing that. And then in the longer range, this is basically going into next Sunday and then eventually Monday and so on and so forth. So quite the stretch of very humid conditions, high dew points basically in the mid and sometimes upper 60s. Not super, super duper 70 dew points, but pretty close at times. And even the tropics have been getting a little bit into the act. And looking at the tropics, what you can see here is the remnants of Cindy. Cindy is going to form and basically take a track probably into Nova Scotia off to the east of us. No threat for the eastern seaboard U.S., but will affect the Canadian Maritimes as a weaker system. And you don't see this every day. This is the GFS ensemble centered on Montpelier. And we have 3-hourly QPF every day. We have convection every day. Looking at the total amount of QPF, it just basically ramps up. And with precipitable water relatively high, just cruising lower, but not a whole lot. Putting that over convective available potential energy, and every day we have better than 800 joules per kilogram. So that's an instability metric that is right there. Putting shear over that makes Monday the day to watch, and a little bit more organization of thunderstorm activity at that point in time. Now, according to the Weather Prediction Center, 7-day total QPF, we have heavier precipitation amounts to the north and east of us. Over us, not quite as much, and heavier amounts over the Great Lakes associated with that upper level low. And what you can see here is, of course, we're running just a little bit above seasonal norms. A little cooler in some places. Next 5 days of high temperatures, about weighted as about 0 or near normal. A little warmer to the north of us in those areas that are drought sticking with all the fires. A little bit cooler off the coast. About 3 days later, still normal. A little bit cooler, starting to make some inroads in the Canadian Maritimes anyway. And in the tropics, we have Cindy, currently an advisory, and it looks like Cindy as a tropical storm is going to make an inroad into Nova Scotia. That's good moisture, should wet things down in places in the eastern Canadian Maritimes. And last but not least, this is our smoke layer again, looking northwest from Burlington, and indeed quite a bit of poor air quality at this time. That's it from here. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. Thanks for watching.